Hello folks and welcome to Msfs. We are back flying in the AMD system around New Zealand, and look at the state of this. This is very nice. Now for this particular video I thought I'd show you the FPS. I'm using Fsr set to balanced with incredibly high settings. Not ultra, but very close to. And we are flying around Queenstown at the moment, I think it's called. What a view, look at that. We're in the Reverb G2. And I have to say, you know, since using a sort of worst case scenario with this computer, I thought it's about time I showed it in better light as well, because it's not all bad news, guys. It's still a very nice computer. We can probably deduct that it's not the best of the best, but you have to bear in mind something that I do tend to forget. This is at least £1,000 less than my computer. The question is this £1,000 less performance? That's, I guess, for you to decide. But look at these mountains around here. Absolutely beautiful. So we're getting about between 45 and 50 frames per second. And it seems to hit when recording more than my computer, because when I'm just flying for myself without hitting the record button, I'm getting 55, nearly 60 frames per second. And in the Reverb G2, which is full native resolution, it really does look absolutely jaw-dropping. I think the music is very indicative of how beautiful this is in VR. It never fails to impress me, guys. It really doesn't. You know, you think by now VR would be something that I'm used to, but I'm just not. I'm just not. Especially when you can fly all around the world in this incredible sim. And I have to say, this computer is really showing its stuff. It might struggle in the worst case scenarios, but for this kind of flying, this is pretty damn good frame rate. I will say though that running TAA mode really hurts performance. I'm down to about 35 frames per second rather than sort of, you know, in the 50s here. But one thing I have learned, I actually prefer Fsr to DLSS, because I think the gauges look sharper with Fsr than DLSS, for me personally. I'm really enjoying helicopters now in this sim. It's giving me a new inspiration to learn to fly them correctly. I mean, look at this. It's jaw-dropping, really jaw-dropping. So a system like this from Stormforce, with my discount code, could set you back around 3,000, perhaps a little bit less than that. So it's significantly less money than my Intel and, of course, Nvidia system. You do get less performance, but I must admit, in this scene, look at this, we're getting 55 frames per second now. You can't really complain about that at all. Really very nice. And this is the kind of flying I like to do. I'm a VFR flyer at heart. I'm not really much for the airliners and that kind of thing. I mean, I do fly them, but not very often. But this is where it matters most to me. I've also tried motion reprojection. That is something that AMD GPUs have struggled with in the past. But I'm glad to say even that is much better with this system. I really cannot wait to try the new X3D variant of this processor, because it's looking like it's going to be, well, the best CPU you can find. In fact, probably that CPU with a 4090 will be the best combination. But, well, I can't say that for certain, but it's looking like that at the moment with all the benchmarks coming out. But I will be showing that in real time on the channel in the not so distant future. Now, just to say, this video is proudly sponsored by FS Academy, which provide the best tutorials for this sim. And whether you are a GA pilot or an airline captain, they have really great and bespoke tutorials from real-world pilots. And I've done a few of them myself, and they're so good, the way you really feel like the instructor is there with you. So whether you're a seasoned veteran like I am or starting out, they have a training package for you, and it's a massive pleasure and honour for FS Academy to sponsor this channel. It means a lot. All the links will be in the description below. So let's just have a look at some of these landmarks here, because I could literally be flying all day here. I'm not using the motion rig today, so I am missing that, but even so, this is super impressive stuff. And as you can see, by the frame counter, we haven't dropped below about 40 frames per second this entire video so far. And this is photogrammetry, and that's something else I've noticed around New Zealand, is the photogrammetry data is superb. It looks fantastic, even with my crappy internet connection. So hopefully it's showing really nicely on the VR image. This is the first time I'm recording with this AMD system, which can be a nightmare when you've got a new computer, because you've got to get everything dialed in, but hopefully it looks pretty decent. I can assure you it looks fantastic in the headset. Do you know, every time I fly in the G2, I'm reminded of how beautiful this screen is. And in fact, this is my older version, the version 1. The version 2 does have a better LCD screen, better field of view as well, and also better compatibility with AMD, so I'm actually using the newer cable on it. And every time I fire it up with this AMD system, it works a treat. It is worth noting though that AMD currently do not support the Vario Aero, and as far as I know, the Pimax 8KX. However, the Crystal might be a different story, so I can't wait to show that on the channel. Anyway folks, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration using the 7900 XTX GPU, a full-on AMD system, and we're getting nearly 60 frames per second here. That is incredible. So I must admit, even though my first test was a little bit shaky at London City, I need to remember that this computer is at least £1,000 less than mine, and I do think this runs better than my older 3090 machine running a 10900K Intel CPU. And I cannot wait to see what the new X3D processor has in store as well. Oh, look at this! It's bite the back of your hand gorgeous. I'll leave it here for today. Just look at this. Immense views here. I think that's going to be our thumbnail for today. Thanks guys again. I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Please feel free to subscribe. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.